Hello there, my name is Anna Lundberg and I'm the founder of One Step Outside, where we help people around the world create a business and build a lifestyle that brings them more freedom, flexibility and fulfillment. And last week you may have seen that I launched my book, Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5, stories from people who've done it and how you can too. And first of all, thanks so much for the support from everybody this past week. I really appreciate your kind words. And of course, I appreciate even more that you're buying the book and when you've read it, feeding back to me what you thought. I'd love to hear your insights. And of course, I'd really appreciate a review on Amazon as well. So thank you so much for that. And I'm really hoping it's giving you lots of reassurance, inspiration, as well as concrete advice. Now, moving forwards, I wanted to talk quickly to you today about 5 things or 5 mistakes that I'd love for you to avoid if you are considering and embarking on leaving your corporate 9 to 5. And I'll dive straight in, and the first one is narrowing down your options too soon. So I think because our particular career and corporate structure and working week and so on and schedule is all we know really, we tend to be quite narrow already when we begin to shift our focus and try to think of something else. So instead of that, instead of sort of latching on to the first thing you see that's slightly different to what you're doing right now, or perhaps an idea you've just come up with that you think you want to pursue, I'd really encourage you to begin by expanding, fantasizing, imagining, dreaming before you narrow down. You can still narrow down later, we'll look at feasibility and so on, but first of all I want you to really expand, consider, envision, imagine what could be possible. The second thing related to this in a way is to rush into action right away. I think a lot of us get caught up in the how. We sign up to an expensive course or throw ourselves into something because we're so keen to take action, which is great. But if we're not yet clear on what we want to do and why, and we really know that is the right thing for us, we're going to be spending money and time going down the wrong direction, the wrong path, and then we won't end up in a better place in a few years' time. Maybe we'll give up too soon because we're just not motivated, or we'll again invest that time and energy in something that just isn't going to move us forwards. So rushing into action too soon is another one as well. But of course the opposite of that is taking no action at all. Unfortunately, when we get stuck in analysis paralysis, we have those fears, the fear of failure, fear of making the wrong choice and so on. It's easy to continue looking at the pros and cons, researching, talking to people and so on. And at some point we do need to take action. That's one of the pieces of advice that most people have said in the book. Of the 50 stories shared in my book actually, you know, there's a point at which you just have to do it. Clarity comes with action. So, you know, one of the mistakes is to stay locked behind your computer in your room and not really, you know, focusing externally, trying things out and just giving something a go. And then focusing on the wrong things is another mistake. So once you have chosen an idea, whether it's, you know, the right one or the wrong one for you, it's very easy to get caught up in perhaps designing lots of business cards and a customized website and all sorts of fancy things. I could list all sorts of things that perhaps aren't really useful, or at least aren't critical when you're first starting out. And because you're probably building this business or creating this transition alongside an existing job, not to mention all your other obligations and so on, you know, you have very limited time every week. So you want to be making sure that you're focusing on the right priorities at the right time that are going to move you in the right direction. So focusing on the wrong things can be a bit of a danger as well. And then finally, the final mistake I want to share today was thinking that you have to do it alone. And I talk about this a lot, and there's a couple of elements to this. One is to have a community of like-minded people who are supporting and encouraging you, whether that's your friends and family, or if you find an online Facebook group, for example, my One Step Outside Facebook group, or an in-person community. So on the one hand, having that community, on the other hand, having a coach, a mentor, or a structured program that's really going to take you through those stages from, you know, that confusion and excitement and working out what you really want to do, through to expanding, narrowing down your options, as I just talked about, and coming up with that business strategy, refining that, moving forwards and actually implementing, and then ultimately getting to a point where you can leave that corporate 9 to 5 and have a sustainable and meaningful business. So those are 5 mistakes that I'd love for you to avoid. If you're worried about these, if you've been already sort of tentatively taking these steps, then you recognise some of these mistakes, by all means message me and we'll get on a call and I'll help you move forwards. And there will also be news very, very soon about my group programme. So of course, following on to that last point that I just mentioned in terms of having a structured course or a programme, this is the third time I'll be opening this up this year. It's a fantastic programme in which you get comprehensive materials, support through really all these stages that I've talked about, and to really help you avoid some of these mistakes that I've mentioned as well. So in the meantime, I'd love for you to join my Facebook group if you haven't, One Step Outside. Message me if you'd like to get on a call and talk about how I might be able to support you. And of course, if you haven't already, grab your copy of Leaving the Corporate 9 to 5, available on Amazon. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.